Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the February 2nd, 2016 Town Hall meeting of the Town of Ossining. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thankfully, not a rainy night. I'm very excited to be introducing a couple of things tonight that may be new to the public and which people may already know a little bit about, but we want more people to know about them. We have an incredible community here in Ossining and in our two villages of Briarcliff and Village of Ossining, and we have some tremendous assets. Our assets include, just want to make sure my technology was all in place. Thank you, technology. Thanks, Maddie. Our assets include our incredible public spaces, our wonderful businesses, and of course, our people. So how can we bring all of those assets together and use each one of them to improve the other? One of the things that has occurred to me, and I'm hoping that all of you guys, including our board, will be also on board with this, and I think from my conversations, everybody is on board, is that there's a way to bring all these things together by sort of starting an initiative, and we're going to call it Mind, Body, Spirit Ossining. So as you can see, here's our beautiful waterfront, our beautiful downtown in our village of Ossining, and if we can go to the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about what does the Mind, Body, Spirit Ossining really mean. The program goals involve a town-wide wellness initiative that's targeting everyone from triathletes to couch potatoes. So this isn't directed to anybody in particular, except for you. Everybody's included in this. So if you love to work out and you want to up your game, if you don't know where to start, but love this community and want to make sure that you're on a great path and to have continued wellness and feel good about yourself and have other people also feel good about you, then this is for you. The goals are to encourage fitness, wellness, and good nutrition at all ages, and we think that there's really a great opportunity to do that with some very easy steps, and we're going to talk about those a little further. And by learning from some people who have been so good at this in our community about setting goals for themselves and helping others to establish goals for themselves and learning to overcome obstacles, we think that we can all benefit from, again, from the expertise that we have here in our community. So the next goal also has to do with economic development, highlighting Ossining's businesses, and particularly the businesses that target wellness. Specifically, businesses like, I'll just name a few, cross-training, fitness, gyms that are here, trainers that live here and do personal training, people who run who lead yoga programs, who teach Tai Chi, Taekwondo, Karate. I'm sure I'm missing a few other martial arts, kayaking, other water sports, as well as, I know I'm leaving out a few and I'm going to get to those, programs that target nutrition. So here is an opportunity to take and we have a lot of these businesses. It's really, you'd be amazed how many of these businesses we have right here in Ossining and in the village of Ossining and Briarcliff. And we also have not-for-profits. Whoops, can you go back? I think I might have missed something, I'm sorry. We also have some not-for-profits, but we really want to take the opportunity to highlight all of our different centers of fitness, wellness, and nutrition, and to brand Ossining as a community that believes in wellness and basically as a fit community that cares about everyone's health and well-being. We think that this will be a great opportunity to go out to the public through press releases and all of our events that will be coming up to tell the world about why Ossining is such a great place and encourage other businesses that target wellness to come here, and that could be restaurants, that could be other kinds of nutrition programs, as well as fitness and all of the other things that I mentioned. Next, we have incredible outdoor spaces, and here are some of, highlighted here are some of our wonderful public spaces in the town of Ossining, including Louis Engel Park, Gerlach Park, the Ryder Park Playground, Cedar Lane Park. You can see that beautiful picture. I can say that one was taken by Michael G. O'Connor, our highway superintendent. He's very proud of it. I think that one made it to a calendar in New York State. Historic Dale Cemetery and Crawbucky Preserve. So all of these are incredible places, and even beyond this, we have lovely neighborhoods also that are great places. And we have somebody I personally work out with here in the audience, David Garcia, has a program in the town, and one day he took us outside to run around the parking lot. And I actually think, did you see that? So he might have done it more than once, but I'm not sure if you drove by if you were out at 5 in the morning, but you might have been. Okay, say you were driving around at 5:15 in the morning.
He does it at night.
Yeah, he does it at night too. So there we were running around in the parking lot that wasn't actually being used at the time. I'm not going to mention any names, so I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But we were running around in a parking lot in circles. I don't think we were running serpentine or anything, but we were just running around, starting, stopping, maybe we were flexing our muscles. And again, it was just a few minutes outdoors that was then mixed with some time indoors. And it really made me think, like, how can we be doing more of this? And how can this be incorporated into what we have here in Ossining? And we have really great public spaces. Some people don't even know about all of our public spaces. And I have a list at the end of this little PowerPoint presentation that identifies all of the wonderful public parks that we have. And then, again, we have Historic Dale Cemetery now. That might not be someplace that you normally think about to take advantage of and to run it, but for many, many, many hundreds of years, people took advantage of cemeteries as parks and places to have picnics with their families and to pay homage to all of those who were here before us. But also, they're beautiful, beautiful places, and this is a historic spot, and it's a great place because it's hilly and it's great to walk in. It's great to run in and jog in, and it's also great to sit in and just enjoy the great outdoors. So that's another one of our lovely spots that we have highlighted here. Okay, so we're going through all of our program goals, and now we'll talk a little bit about, so how would this program work? The idea is that each of our businesses would pick a weekend, a weekend day, Saturday or a Sunday, whatever is most conducive to that business. That would be an opportunity for them to, and then pick an outdoor public space and basically meet up with a bunch of people who would be interested in learning about some techniques. The idea is to give you, our public, some skills that you can take advantage of on your own. You don't actually need to go back and patronize these businesses, but here's an opportunity for you to learn about how these businesses target wellness, target mind, body, spirit improvement, and how you can fit it into not only your everyday life, but your weekend life and with your family and your friends, and make it a great time to be in our great outdoors. And then get to learn a little bit about the different spots. So a business would pick a place, a time, and then we, through the town, would help advertise that event to the public. Participants would gain tools for lifetime fitness, and of course, they'd also enjoy the benefits of learning about what our businesses have to offer. So learning about our businesses, even if you think you're gonna remember that great workout, you may want a little help. So you may wanna go back to one of the businesses that showed you what they do and showed you what they had to offer, and take a class and see what it's all about right there in their location, or working with that particular person. And that's, I think that's pretty much the whole program. So businesses would gain an opportunity to let you know what they have. You would gain an opportunity to learn how to work out. And here's some different ideas. Kayaking could be followed by a Zumba or yoga class at Louis Engel Park. You could be hiking or walking at Crawbucky Preserve. You could learn how to use your stroller to exercise or use a park bench to do tricep extensions, for example, while your child is running around the spray park. You could learn how to do cross training, kickboxing, Tai Chi, Taekwondo, or any of those things in a park or in a cul-de-sac or in a parking lot. Whatever your business has to offer, you can look at what we have here to offer in our town and figure out how can we incorporate these too. And so we're inviting businesses to sign up, tell us what your best time of day is to do this kind of thing on a weekend day, and what kind of location, and we're gonna help you figure out how to meld these two, and then we're gonna use that to advertise out to the public. Do we have any slides? I'm trying to remember how many slides there are. And great, so then the outcomes are that we have an educated and inspired community making healthy choices, shopping at our local farmers market, walking to school, attending classes at our local businesses, and walking around, jogging around, playing in our lovely public spaces, our parks, our cemeteries, our parking lots, whatever we have to offer in a safe and enjoyable way. So tonight, this is also an opportunity to hear from you and hear from you, the public, and any businesses who've come. What is it that you think you would need to make this super successful? And what would you want this to be so that it would attract you, it would engage you, and it's something that you'd want to participate in? So I think we have a little list here of some of the town and Village of Ossining parks. There's obviously more opportunities in neighborhoods also. Lots of people like to walk around their cul-de-sacs, and they have their regular partners for walking. I know that a lot of the condominium developments, people like to walk around. They have like big spaces, and I had the opportunity to see a lot of people walking there this fall. So you can sort of take a look, and maybe you didn't even know that we had some of these parks. Maybe nobody ever heard of Lit Park on Tappan Terrace, or you didn't know about, where's that? Buck Johnson Park on Blue Lantern Road. They have playground equipment and basketball courts. And we have Cedar Lane Park. We're doing some improvements there, which we're hoping will be ready for April. I mentioned those at our last meeting. We're trying to fix up the Shine House. Many of you might have known it as, it was a theater at one point. It was a pool house at one point, and we're trying to fix it up so we can offer some ceramics classes there in April through the recreation department. So we're hoping that's going to be ready to go. But meanwhile, as we're looking at our beautiful park, we see that there's lots of opportunities to walk around our little lake there, or pond, and there's paths, there's the dog park up in the back, there's football fields, there's lots of space there to really take advantage, and there's even, I think, some walking paths and hiking trails back there. So it's really a great place to take advantage of. So I'd just like to take the opportunity to open it up to anybody in the audience who would like to add their 2 cents. And also, we're gonna be followed, I probably should have flip-flopped it, on the agenda by Millie Morbido, who's gonna be talking about our first annual Health and Wellness Day, which is scheduled this year for May 7th. And this is going to be a great time to launch a little bit more of this to the public in one of our public spaces. And she's going to be talking a little bit about some, if nobody else has anything to say, I'm going to turn it over to her and just offer you all opportunity to talk to me and or any of the board members afterwards to give us your feedback. But if you do have something to say, raise your hand and I'll come find you with the microphone. Okay.
I don't need a microphone.
Well, you do. Yeah.
Or you want to record it?
Yeah, we're on TV, so come on down. Sure.
Hi, I'm Gary Telfer. I live at Kemmy's Cove. And I was curious when the walkway underneath the Croton Aqueduct is going to open.
Okay, wheelchair. I might know, even though that is a village project. It's a good thing that you mentioned that, because it's going to be a wonderful place to walk and to also do some of these wonderful activities. I think that they were still waiting for some railing. I don't know what the ETA was on when that railing was going to arrive. But I think that it will, I'm guessing it's going to be open for the summer season at the latest. It may even be the spring. I think that's what they're targeting.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
I'd just like to add to that, they were working on that railing. They even swept the snow off down there. I think a couple of days ago they were down there putting that railing in. I don't know where they'd be doing nice days, but on snow days they're down there. They shovel it. So I know they're working on it. So I'm assuming it'll be ready by spring.
I just wanted to say I'm excited about the fit opening. I'm glad we're going to be able to showcase our local businesses that cater to the health and wellness of our residents and introduce people to all the opportunities and things that exist in town that you may not know. You may not know there's a juice bar down the street. I mean, I even think that maybe some of our restaurants could invent a, mind-body dish. Here's a healthy dish that goes with our theme for the year. And they can maybe, here, come on and have lunch, and we'll have a special dish available for that. I'm sure we could tie in a lot of things in our community, and a lot of people can come together and learn more about our community that you might not have known, and all become healthy. One thing a lot of people don't know is that our Dale Cemetery was designed by the same person who designed Central Park. And it's really a beautiful place to walk around, and it was designed as a park and a memorial, not just to people who've passed, but as a real showcase. And if you've ever gone with the historic cemeteries on the tour that Miguel, who just walked in, gives, it's such an informative and beautiful tour. There's so much that it has to offer that a few people take advantage of. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this progresses. Right, thank you.
Okay, so, all right, fantastic. Okay, so the next, I think, are we waiting for one more person to join you? Okay, so I'm going to ask Millie Morabito if she would like to come up and talk a little bit about the annual Health and Wellness Day.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Hi, everybody. Well, first of all, I found this great little logo for the Health and Wellness Day, and it's kind of mind, body, and spirit with yoga, sleep, good foods, here's an apple, exercise, and our heart with the rate. So I just wanted you to put that down. So just very quickly want to say that we are seeking for vendors. We're seeking green, holistic, natural, spiritual, health and wellness products and services. The booth proceeds, this is going to be May 7th at the Louis Engle Waterfront Park from 10 to 4. The booth proceeds, which are $35, will benefit the Baker Collier Christmas Cheer Fund. If you need a little information about that, I have it. I think everybody kind of knows about it, yes? Yes? Okay.
You can tell them.
Okay, well, I kind of took this from the patch. It said the Baker Collier Christmas Cheer Fund is celebrating its 100th anniversary this year, last year. It was started by an Ossining merchant who witnessed 2 children picking through a garbage pile for food. Last year, actually 2014, more than 370 needy families in the Ossining area received holiday food baskets due to the fund's generous contributions and many volunteers. And then I said the funds go the funds go solely to purchase the food, I didn't say this, for the holiday baskets. The administration efforts are handled by volunteers, and the baskets are packed and delivered by members of the Ossining Volunteer Fire Department and other community members. And contributions can be sent to John Crawford, and I'll have that information here if you're interested, just on that same sheet of paper. So I'm also looking for, or we're looking for, I don't happen to have a team. This was an idea I came up with, and John loved it. And since they don't have a team, I'm kind of looking for volunteers. However, there will be the staff from the town helping out. But I'll kind of need perhaps people to help set up tables. Waste receptacles will need to be placed strategically and emptied regularly. I have there is one vendor who sells water which is purified very differently from how we know it's purified. I believe it puts antioxidants in it or something. I don't have all her information yet, but she's going to distribute water to all the vendors throughout the day. So we'll need someone to help distribute the water. Clean up at day's end, someone to sell raffle tickets, and someone to call the winning raffle numbers or names to give out the prizes. So we would like you to please consider being a part of this 100-year-old tradition. And I think it's a wonderful cause. One of the things that Liz said that made me excited was I can't seem to find any healthy food vendors. Gluten-free, juice bars, anything. So I'd love that information from you to try to reach them.
Kimbaya on Main Street does juice.
Yes.
Kimbaya, Picante, it's both.
Like that?
No.
Picante, Kimbaya, which is on Main Street, has a juice bar. So that would be one we could add right now.
It sounds like Kumbaya.
Okay.
It's
Picante.
and it's still on their side.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I have 3 packets of, if anyone wants to sign up as a volunteer or a vendor, they're just, easy sign-up sheets, and I'll put, these 3 packets each around, or if you know anyone, perhaps you could take a packet or a sheet, okay? So thank you very much, and thank you. Yep.
Millie, do you have an email address available for the people who are watching that might want to
I
help?
do. MILLYMORABITO@gmail.com. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Excuse me.
Okay, and this was something I think that you had met with our prior town supervisor about, a date that had been set up last year for this coming year. So we're excited about it because it ties right into some of our other initiatives.
It does.
So next I'm excited to introduce the Ossining Historic Cemeteries Conservancy. They've been doing some great work. Are you ready to go? You want to wait?
And then you can, we're expecting one more, but we can
Okay.
start.
Okay, we're expecting one more. So you know what? I'm gonna skip to the last piece on here. How about that? So one more item on the agenda that you might have seen wasn't originally advertised, except for our dear friend Gary Cahill at the Gazette, who, I don't know where he got the information from, but he said that we were gonna be doing an update on the reassessment project. So we weren't planning to, but because he said we were going to, we will. Because we don't want to let anybody down if you saw it in the Gazette. So I just wanted to let you know that our assessor just got back into town and just reviewed with me where we stand with the revow that Tyler Technologies has been working with the town of Ossining on. So this week, the values are being finalized. And the assessor has been working very closely with Tyler Technologies, constantly reviewing all the information, but they were waiting for the state for franchise and utility rate information as I guess the last piece. Once that happens, shortly after the values are finalized, they will be making a presentation to the board and the public. They're currently targeting March 15th for a town hall meeting like this, and it would be here at the library. Once the tentative assessments have been set, then the assessment disclosure / impact notices will be mailed, and that's tentatively scheduled to happen between February 15th and March 1st of this year. Following that would be when you would find out what your new assessment is for your property. So what is it that, what was the value before, what is it now, and how does it compare? Following that, there will be informal meetings for property owners to meet with Tyler representatives which are tentatively scheduled to take place between March 14th and May 15th. The assessor's office is currently trying to book the library for these meetings. And informal meeting times will include the weekend, morning, afternoon, and evening hours. That is the most information that I have, and I believe there is additional information available on the town website under the Assessors tab. The other information from the assessment office is that the renewal deadline for exemptions is May 1st. Letters have been mailed, so if you currently receive an exemption, you need to renew. If you're receiving a senior exemption, enhanced star, unless you have the automatic income verification. Otherwise, if it's just a senior exemption, you have to renew. Firemen, roll section 8, clergy, and disability. So that's our update from the assessor's office. No, they don't have to. They don't have to renew. Veterans do not have to renew. Okay, so that's.
The informal, sorry, the informal meetings is that to do with, do they meet with each person?
Anybody who wants to meet.
Anybody that wants to will
Correct.
be able to come and sit down with a representative from Tyler and say, hey, I don't understand this, or.
Right, or they say, or if you say, you know, I don't have this many bedrooms, and you said I have this many bedrooms, but I only have this many bedrooms, and then you have to give them some additional information, and if they didn't have an opportunity to come into your home, then you might want to let them come into your home if there's some kind of a discussion that you want to have with Tyler about what they found versus what you believe you have, and where there might be a discrepancy.
Good, so there's a
process.
There's a
That's
process.
And that's, as I mentioned,
Disagree. Good.
that process would be about 2 months long.
Thank you.
And now, are there any questions about that anybody has on that I might be able to answer, and if not, we could get back to you. Is there anything else from our board? Okay, so I think we now have all the people from our Ossining Historic Cemeteries Conservancy. So if you would like to come up, please come on up, and you guys can give a little presentation and update as to maybe what you had been up to last couple of years, and what you're planning for this year.
Okay, George, you want to do the introduction?
We have Fern Quesada, George Weeks, and Miguel Hernandez.
Where do you want us to stand?
Do you want to sit?
No, that's okay.
Or stand? You can set up the chair in front. Stand in front of the stage. Right where you are.
I'm good. Yeah, I really,
Okay.
I'll leave it to you.
You have to use the microphone. You have to use the microphone.
Okay. You have to use the microphone.
So, I yield to you.
Okay.
And the camera's there.
Okay.
The camera's behind us. You can, that's right.
Here, come over here.
Do you want to sit in front of the camera?
Okay. Good evening. My name is Miguel Hernandez, and I'm the president of the Ossining Historic Cemeteries Conservancy. That's quite a mouthful. But basically, what it means is that we are a nonprofit group that is dedicated to preserving, protecting, and informing the public about our historic treasures here in Ossining, and specifically its cemeteries. I have with me here George Weeks, who for many years was the director of the Ossining Cemetery, of Dale Cemetery, and Mr. George, and he was also our planning director for the town, and Fern Quesada. Fern, as many of you know, is the person who bears the brunt of the work in organizing the Forest of Fears. So it's an annual event that we have, and she'll explain more about that, and then I'll conclude with a brief history of Dale and Cemetery and Sparta Cemetery. Over to you.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so OHCC provides programming and other types of volunteer activities for Dale and Sparta cemeteries. Some of them which are to raise funds for our projects, like our church tours and for our history lessons and for our products we use for gravestone cleanings. So some of the events we have going on this year. First, we start out with gravestone cleanings in April, and those are scheduled for a Saturday in April, and you can get the information through the rec emails and also through the town supervisor emails as far as dates. We also have, and those are scheduled monthly, all the way through September, October, and if weather permits, November. This year, June 5th, we have a picnic concert in Dale Cemetery. We will also be having a church tour at the Village Fair, if I'm correct. Yeah.
Oh, not sure of that date, but okay.
Okay. We are also working on a project for September 17th, which will be a theatrical tour of Sparta cemeteries. And that is going to be pretty awesome, I think, because we're going to have some actors and people very involved in researching the history. Dana White is also helping us with that, and a few other of our town members. And then we have the Haunted Hayride, which I decided to start a couple years ago, and this is going to be our third year. It will be the 28th and 29th of October from 6:45 until 10, and we will be having pre-sale tickets starting September 15th, and once the website is up, everybody will get the information on that. So, and we do other types of educational programming as well. We just don't have any set dates yet. Different information about churches and the architectural work of the gravestones and various other things. So you'll see them coming up, and I will pass it back to Mike. Thank you.
Thank you, Fern. Tonight I've been asked to present the history of Dale and Sparta cemeteries, and this is going to take about an hour. No. In view of the fact that tonight's a work night, and some of you have to go to school to work tomorrow, we're going to cut it a bit short. I'm going to take out the part about the test is not going to be here tonight, and not that you don't have to do a term paper. Okay. Anyway, the key point for you to know is that Dale and Sparta cemeteries, which are right here in town, are indeed historic. And every year, we do a tour of both of these cemeteries at separate days. And I get up in my regalia as an undertaker or as the founder of the cemetery, whatever it happens to be. And we walk you through the cemetery to explain to you the history behind this cemetery. Now, since they are historic, while it is true that neither George Washington nor Abraham Lincoln or any of the famous people that you might know are buried in their cemeteries, in these cemeteries, they are indeed historic. And they're not historic because I say so, okay? They're historic because in their infinite wisdom, the National Park Service and the State Historic Preservation Office, called SHPO for short, have declared them to be historic. Now, what does that really mean? It means that a panel of experts have gotten together and they have looked up certain criteria and taken this criteria and tested it against what is at Dale Cemetery. So these people come up with a standard for why it is historically and architecturally significant. It has basically its 4 criteria, and I'll simply read them here. A, they're associated with events that have made a significant contribution to the broad patterns of American history. Okay? So each one of these cemeteries has played a national role into our national history. Hard to believe, our little cemeteries here are not just places where we bury our dead, but the people who are there and the things that are there, objects are there, are part of the national history, and I'll explain a little bit more about that as we go along. B, they're associated with the lives of persons with a significant past. So we have people who are generals, who are scientists, who are businessmen, who are bankers, and people who have served of all ranks in our various wars. And we have people who have served in various community organizations, who have plots there. For example, the Ossining Fire Department has a whole section devoted to it. And other organizations in town, churches, for example, and other groups have reserved certain parts of the cemeteries for their members. And these are the fire departments, for example, the volunteer fire departments are not just local here, but they're nationwide, and in fact, worldwide you'll find volunteer fire departments. And our fire department, for example, is very historic. It is one of the oldest in the nation, to begin with. We have the Washington Fire Company, so named because their original fire apparatus was one that supposedly was donated by George Washington to his fire company. George Washington, in addition to being President General, was a volunteer fireman himself. So that original piece of equipment was subsequently donated to the Ossining Fire Department, and so it played an important part in American history. Okay, C, they embody distinctive characteristics of a type, period, or method of construction that represents the work of a master, or that possesses high artistic value, that may represent significant and distinguishable entity whose components may lack individual distinction. Oh, that's a whole lot of wordage, saying that the people who designed the funereal artworks, the monuments, the tombstones, and even the cemetery itself, in the case of Dale, was a very significant person, was a master builder. If you go to Dale Cemetery here, I'd like you to know that Dale Cemetery was established in 1851, and it was designed by a man named Howard Daniels. Daniels was the premier landscape architect of the pre-Civil War United States. And he designed over 18 cemeteries, similar to Dale Cemetery, all around the country. And in addition to that, he was a contestant and placed fourth in the contest to design Central Park in Manhattan. And he did design his own parks, of course, in Baltimore and in other cities across the U.S. And he was also a building architect. So his work is recognized by the federal government as he is one of the most prolific landscape designers of the 19th century. Sparta, for example, is historic in that it was established in 1764, before the Revolutionary War, and is the resting place of many of the original founders. Let me just go back for a minute. I forgot I had to do this slide presentation. This is the vault at Dale Cemetery. It was designed by Howard Daniels, and all that stone there that you see is so-called Sing Sing marble, quarried by the inmates from Sing Sing prison. In fact, there are some Sing Sing inmates buried at Dale Cemetery and at St. Augustine's as well. So they carved the stone, and it was brought up to the cemetery and was put together, the design by Howard Daniels. The vault essentially was used in the wintertime. At that time, they didn't have power tools, power shovels, so the graves had to be dug by hand, which was very difficult when the ground was frozen. So if you died, or your relative died, or somebody died, he or she was brought here. There was a little rolling cart that brought them inside, and they were placed in there over the winter. And as soon as the frost came, was over, the bodies were taken out, and then the graves were dug, and they were then buried in this vault. I'm hoping to turn it into a wine storage facility, make some money for the cemetery. Either that, or it's going to be my personal burial place, and I'm going to have a sign in there, right? And it's going to say, Miguel Hernandez, New York State's first Hispanic mayor. That's a fact. No, I'm not kidding. But, so we have the vault, Sing Sing marble. The other thing that he did with the cemetery is that it's called a rural cemetery. And the reason for that is that it's designed in a natural way to imitate a rural or pastoral countryside. So instead of laying the cemetery out on a flat piece of ground with rows of graves and even rows of roads and paths and so forth, they incorporated the natural features. And this was formerly farmland, and it follows, and it's very hilly, and has valleys, it has water features, and so he designed it so that the paths kind of meander and wander around in a very natural way. In fact, this was really Ossling's first public park in a way. As I mentioned to you before there were cemeteries, before there were parks, city parks, urban parks, the large parks, people went to cemeteries for passive recreation. They would go there on a Sunday or a holiday. They would bring a picnic basket. They would sit and chat with their passing neighbors, exchange gossip, talk about it, and there were concerts as well at these locations. So these paths follow the natural course instead of being laid out in a grid fashion. Okay, so we have the next one. Okay, this is the vault I spoke about. And as I mentioned before, there were many famous people buried here. That gentleman on horseback is General Fox Connor. Maybe you haven't heard of General Fox Connor, but he is the general's general. He is the man who tutored young David Eisenhower when he graduated from West Point, the famous class of 1915. And Fox Connor took him under his wing. Eisenhower was going to quit the Army. He was particularly going to quit the Army because of MacArthur. He was MacArthur's right-hand man, aide man, but he couldn't stand working for him. MacArthur was a very difficult person to work with. And in fact, Eisenhower said that MacArthur did not go to military school. He said he actually went to acting school. So there was bad blood between them. But he took Eisenhower under his wing, and as a result of that, Eisenhower stayed in the Army, studied hard, became an excellent historian, by the way. You never think of that, of Eisenhower in that sense. But he was quite a brilliant man. And then what he did was, during World War II, he was out of the Army, but Eisenhower kept up a correspondence with him. And he trained other people like George Patton, and all of the other famous generals of World War II. And he kept up correspondence with Fox Connor, with Eisenhower, and so forth. And they sort of determined, they would ask him what to do in this situation. Who should they appoint? Who should Eisenhower appoint to be a general of this or that, or an officer in this division, that division, and so forth? So in a sense, Fox Connor, even though he had retired and was living up in the Adirondacks, it was trains that would go there on a regular basis with correspondence back and forth to Eisenhower in the front. And so Fox Connor is a person you know nothing of, but he's in fact an important man in the history of the United States. We also have here John Thompson. John Thompson went from being mayor of Ossining, or president of Ossining as it was called, to being mayor of New York City and ultimately governor of New York State. So all of you elected officials out there, follow John's example. And then we have another general, can't think of his name at the moment, but trying to think of it. He was married to a grandmother. Help me out here. Huh? No, not Ward. Anyway, we know that we had several Civil War generals. We have jazz musicians, and we have baseball players. This man, for example, played with the New York Yankees, the team that became the New York Yankees. So you can see that the people here who made a contribution, not only locally, but on a state and regional level and national level. Next. This is Sparta Cemetery, and Sparta owes its fame to the fact that it was established before the Civil War, before the Revolutionary War, 1734, and it was the ground where the first Presbyterian church that is here in town was originally there. Possibly the most famous incident concerning many of the original founders of Ossining are buried there, including 34 Revolutionary War veterans. And so probably the most famous incident during the Revolutionary War involving Sparta was that it was fired upon by a British ship called the HMS Vulture, who had stationed itself just a little bit south of Croton Point. It was called Teller's Point at that time. Anyway, this ship had come to that place to pick up Major Andre. Major Andre, you will recall, was the man who had met with Benedict Arnold. Benedict Arnold was the commander of West Point, and at this point, Benedict Arnold, who was probably George Washington's finest general, the best general in the Army, had decided to turn traitor, and he was going to sell the plans of West Point, or give the plans of West Point, to the British Army in exchange for a commission and monetary rewards in the British Army. So, the Vulture was waiting there. Did I finish?
And that's where we can leave off. So if they want to come into one of our
Okay.
history lessons,
Right.
that would be great to start off from.
Okay. So, we're going to tell you just wind up that had they fired on the cemetery by mistake. The fire was returned by a man who was a resident here of Ossining, who was commanding the American troops, and the ship had to leave the area, and therefore that changed the course of history. Arnold, as you know, was ultimately went back to England, and Andre was hung was caught and hung. So that leaves it here. We have a lot of things to tell you about the cemetery. There isn't enough time tonight, and we're going to have several events, including our church tours. We do something called Ossining's Peaceful Places and Peaceful Places, right? Peaceful Places. We have some of the finest churches around. Many of them are constructed in the late 19th century by some of the best architects in the United States. Okay, that's it for now. Thank you.
Thanks, Miguel.
Thank you so much. That's so exciting that we have, as you can hear, obviously so much great history. And also we had a great tour of pictures through some parts of the cemetery. And again, that's an encouragement to use our public spaces. So before my friend David Garcia leaves, although he's leaving, I just want to encourage, if there are any fitness folks out there, there's some sign-up sheets here if you want to put down what kind of weekends or parks you'd like to use, please do sign in before you leave, okay? And then I just want to ask if the board has any questions about the Historic Cemeteries Conservancy for any folks that are still here or any of the other programs that were discussed tonight? Anyone? Or any comments? Okay. Oh, okay.
I think this was exciting. I think it's great. I think maybe I will be motivated. I have not been lately. You tapped into the fact that we do have so many great businesses that would, in many different ways, add to this. I never thought about going to a concert at Dale Cemetery, but I'm excited to go.
1800s period classical music,
All right.
picnic style lunch provided by
Nice.
WOW.
We might need to change also another time to like a rock concert. No, I'm sorry.
That has been mentioned.
No, I mean, it's
got
exciting the
photos.
things that can be done, will be done, and that we can do together. So I'm excited for this initiative.
Thank you. Now, this is your meeting, so if anybody has any other comments that they, oh, did you want to make a comment? I'm sorry.
I just want to make a note.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. I did just want to mention briefly that Green Ossining is holding their Earth Day Festival, April 16th. They have booths available for anybody who wants to participate. The theme this year is water, so anything to do, and there's no plastic allowed at the festival, and it's a carry in, carry out, recycled garbage. But anyway, if you would like to find out more about the Earth Day Festival, you can go to greenossining.org. If you'd like to email them and contact them, it's info@greenossining.org. And it's a great event. We're over 70 vendors last year, and there's a lot of great information about how you can incorporate more green stuff into your life, and a lot of events for kids. So if you'd like to be a vendor or just come on down and enjoy the day, again, it'll be April 16th,
And I think
11 to 4.
And I think our, some of our either high school and middle school students are going to also be painting a mural again on the another side of the bathhouse, so we're looking forward to that as well.
And all-day music and food, and it's a great day.
It's a great, great event. It's a really wonderful way to spend down at the riverfront. So now I just wanted to open it up to any community members who wanted to come on up and take the microphone. If you have anything that you wanted to announce or talk about or ask, come on down.
Thank you.
That's all.
Hi again. Oh, hello again. There was one other idea I had for Ossining, and I just wanted to propose it this evening. Get any intake on it. It would be called an evening of art, music, and literature for Ossining. Art, music, and literature would encompass local artists exhibiting and selling their visual arts, while local musicians taking turns showcasing their talents for hire later on. Poets would recite their original poetry, authors, book designers, etc. will present their works also with price tags. Local eateries would donate hors d'oeuvres for the reception, for a reception, excuse me, which would be open to the public for a fee. Would be a fundraiser if there were someone who needed the funds of this type. If not, it wouldn't have to be a fundraiser. I think it would just be a really great evening of all the arts. My other idea is for Second Saturday. Just reading from Beacon's Second Saturday on their webpage for it, it says Second Saturday is a citywide celebration for the arts held on the second Saturday of every month. Special events, art gallery openings, artist receptions, and culinary tastings. Many galleries and shops stay open until 9 p.m. It's kid-friendly and a great way to take the pulse of Beacon. Second Saturday is a citywide celebration of the arts held on the second Saturday of every month when galleries and shops are open until 9. I think that was a repeat. I'm sorry about that. Most events are along Main Street, so walking is encouraged. I know we don't have as much artsy stuff going on at the moment as far as shops. I'm talking about galleries, etc. But I think Second Saturday is a great idea. A lot of stores have discounts, etc. On Second Saturday. It happens in Manhattan as well. So I'm just going to leave this with the board, okay? And
Maybe, is there somebody else who wants to go? Mr. Block?
okay.
Yeah, if you can just pass the microphone.
Yep, thank you. Come on.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Town Supervisor Levenberg and Town Council. How are you? Good evening. Good evening, Austin. My name is Matthew Galata. I am with Galata House, and we're a 501c3. We started last May with the help and support of the community. It's a grassroots effort, and I'm proud to announce as of December, we've given out over $12,800 to area Westchester County residents. We helped over 37 residents of Westchester, and we've done 17 community events. So tonight is like a kickoff, because in February, which is 9 more days away, February 11th, we're going to be doing a fashion show. And it was first brought up by Elise Alexander, and now it's going to be taken over by Galata House and the look by Melissa. So Fashion Week kicks off in New York City February 11th. It's going to be kicking off at Briarcliff, at the Briarcliff Manor at Antipasto Avenue. So please go to www.galatahouse.org. There's two charities we'll be helping, Snow and White Plains, and the Briarcliff Cheerleaders, and Galata House to help local residents here. So we're looking forward to champagne, hors d'oeuvres, a fashion show, DJ, high-end event with high-end vendors. Our second event is February 14th, and it's going to be called All You Need Is Love. And it's Valentine's Day, and Carol Arucci and Ray Arucci have come to me and they said we would like to have our band. It's called Oobla Day. They are well-known Beatles tribute band. They go all over, so as a tribute to Ray and Carol, they're going to be coming to the Briarcliff Manor House again 3 days later from 1 to 4. It's $50 a ticket. Again, galatahouse.org, and enjoy a great evening of live music, cocktail party to benefit the Galata House. And that's all the proceeds are going to be going out to area residents who are facing a hardship. Because what we do is that we determine that everybody is having a hardship. But we want to know people who are having a hardship, it's the severity of the hardship. Income is not a qualification. So it doesn't matter what income level you are. It matters what hardship are you having today. And we're here to give you that little boost. We do community events and scholarships. Last year we started something with the Austin Recreation, and I'm proud, very proud, to announce again we're doing it, and we have more sponsors this year. The Austin Parks and Recreation are going to be leading it, the Austin Rotary Club, the Westchester Knicks, the Fraternal Order of the Fraternal Order of Elks, and Galata House, February 19th. And this is what's really exciting. We have over 120 kids and students in the Austin area, Austin Union Free School District, which will be allowed to go to a Westchester Knicks game for free. We supply the food, we supply the drinks, we supply the chips, we supply the transportation. All the parents or guardians have to do is go down to the Austin Recreation from 9 to 8 o'clock in the evening. The kids are free. For every adult, they can take 3 children with them. Coaches can bring up to 8 children with them. Adults are $25 and children are free. So we had 196 total families go last year. We do it on February 19th because it's break, but we found that a lot of families can't or don't have the means or the funds to travel and go out and have a little vacation. So stay here in Austin. Let's go to the Westchester County Center and have an awesome time. And February is a very big month because on February 23rd, the Hudson Valley Young Professionals with the Hudson Valley Chamber has just voted and chose Galata House, which I'm very honored to say, and they're going to be doing a fundraiser in Jefferson Valley Bowl across the street at the bowling alley on February 23rd for us. So we got 4 huge events. It all goes back to the community. No one gets paid at Galata House. We're all volunteers, 5 board members and 37 community advisors. So Austin, have a good night. Please go to the website, and thank you very much.
Just want to say, Mr. Galata, that I bought my tickets for the Austin Westchester Knicks night already, as have many of my friends. So I think we have already donated about 10 tickets out to children.
Thank you very much.
A lot of great things happening in Austin, and make sure that you sign up for any number of them that interest you, and if you have any other great ideas, please let us know, or we are wide open. So if without further ado, if anybody doesn't have any other questions or comments or announcements to make, I'd like to say thank you all for coming out this evening, and we look forward to seeing you next week when we have a public hearing to discuss our secret regulations and looking to change what we have on the books to make sure that we are in compliance with New York State law. So hopefully you'll come on out for that, and we'll have more to talk about and tell you about then. That's next Tuesday, February 9th, and we will be at the courthouse on Spring Street. Thanks so much and have a great night.
Thank you.